Hello fellow nature enthusiasts, welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving deep into the world of ecology to explore the fascinating topic levels of organization in ecology. Understanding those levels is crucial in comprehending how life on earth is organized and how various organisms interact with each other and their environment. So let's embark on the ecological journey together and explore the different level of organization in ecology. So the main level of organization of ecology are divided in six types. Those are: first one individual, the second one population, third one community, fourth one ecosystem, fifth one biome, and the sixth and final one is biosphere. Let's begin with the first one, individual. Organism is an individual living being that has the ability to act or function independently. It may be plant, animal, bacterium, fungi, and etc. It is a body made of organs, organelles, or other parts that work together to carry out the various processes of life. The second one, population. Population is a group of organisms usually of the same species occupying a definite area during a specific time. Population growth rate is percentage variation between the number of individuals in a population at two different times. Therefore, the population growth rate can be positive or negative. The main factors that make population increase are birth and immigration. The main factors that make population decrease are death and emigration. The main limiting factors of the growth of population are abiotic and biotic component. Population density is the relation between the number of individuals of a population are in the area they occupy. The third one is community. If we look around ourselves, we will notice that population of plant and animals seldom occur by themselves. The reason of this is quite obvious. In order to survive, individuals of any one species depend on individuals of different species with which they actively interact in several ways. For example, animals require plants for food and trees for shelters. Similarly, plants require animals for pollination, seed disposal, and soil microorganisms to facilitate nutrient supply. Community in most instances are named after the dominant plant from species. For example, a grassland community is dominated by grass, thought it may contain herbs, shrubs, and trees, along with associate animals of different species. A community is not fixed or rigid. Community may be large or small. Typically, the community may be divided into two types. One is major community and the other was minor community. The major community. Those are the large size, well organized and relatively independent. They depend on only the sun's energy from outside and are independent of their input and output from adjacent community. For example, tropical evergreen forest in northeast. The second one, minor community. Those are dependent on neighboring community and are often called societies. They are secondary aggregator with a major community and are not therefore completely independent until as far as energy and nutrient dynamics are concerned. For example, a mat of lichen on a cow dung pad. The third one is ecosystem. An ecosystem is defined as a structural and functional unit of a biosphere consisting of a community of living beings and the physical environment, both interacting and exchanging material between them. It includes plants, tree, animal, fish, bird, microorganisms, water, soil, and people. Ecosystems vary greatly in size and element, but each is functioning unit of nature. Everything that lives in an ecosystem is dependent on the other species and elements that are also part of the ecological community. If one part of the ecosystem is damaged or disappear, it has an impact on everything else. When an ecosystem is healthy, it means that all the elements living in the balance and all the capable of reproducing themselves. Ecosystem can be small as a single tree or a large as entire forest. The component of ecosystem. Abiotic components. Abiotic components are the inorganic and non-living part of the world. The abiotic part consists of soil, water, air, and light energy. It also involves the chemicals like oxygen, nitrogen, etc. and physical process including volcanics, earthquake, flood, forest fire, climate, and weather condition. Abiotic factors are the most important determinant of where and how well an organism exists in its environment. Although those factors are interact with each other, one single factor can limit the range of an organism. Energy. Energy from the sun is essential for maintenance of life. In case of plant, the sun directly supplied the necessary energy. Since animals cannot use the solar energy directly, they obtain it from indirectly by eating plant or animals or both. Energy determines the distribution of organisms in the environment. Rainfall. Water is essential for all living beings. Majority of biochemical reaction takes place in an aqueous medium. Water helps to regulate body temperature. Further, water bodies from the habitat from many aquatic plants and animals. Temperature. Temperature is a crucial factor of the environment which greatly influences the survival of organisms. Organisms can tolerate only a certain range of temperature and humidity. Atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is responsible for creating conditions suitable for the existing of a healthy biosphere on this planet. Substratum. Land is covered by soil and wide variety of microbes, protozoa, fungi, and small animals thrive on it. Root of a plant perish through the soil to absorb water and nutrients. Organisms can be terrestrial or aquatic. Terrestrial animals live on land. Aquatic plant, animal, and microbes live in a fresh water as well as in the sea. Some microbes live even in the hot water when under the sea. Materials. Organic compounds such as protein, carbohydrate, lipid, human substances are from inorganic compound on decomposition. In inorganic compounds such as carbon dioxide, water, sulfur, nitrous, phosphate, and ions of various metals are essential for organisms to survive. Latitude and altitudes. Altitude has a strong influence on the areas of temperature, resulting in change in climate such as polar, tropical, and temperate. The climate determines the different natural biomes. From sea level to highest peak, wildlife is influenced by altitude. As the altitude increases, the air becomes cooler and drier, affecting the wildlife accordingly. Biotic components. Biotic components including living organisms such as plant, animal, and microbes, and are classified according to their function attribution into producer and consumer. Primary producers. Primary producers are basically green plant and some certain type of bacteria and algae. They synthesize carbohydrate from simple inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight by the process of photosynthesis for themselves, and they supply indirectly to the other non-producers. In terrestrial ecosystem, producers are basically herbivorous and woody plant, while in aquatic ecosystem, producers are various species of microbes and algae. Consumers or heterotrophs. Consumers are incapable to produce their own food. They depend on organic food derived from the plant, animal, or both. Consumer can be divided into two broadly groups, namely macro and micro consumers. The macro consumers, they feed on plant or animal or both and are categorized on the basis of their food sources. Herbivores are primary consumer which feed mainly on plant. For example, cows, rabbit. Secondary consumer feed on primary consumer. For example, wolves. Carnivorous which feed on the secondary consumer are called tertiary consumer. Example, lions which can eat wolves. Omnivorous are organisms which consume both plant and animal. For example, human and monkey. Micro-consumers, they are the bacteria and fungi which obtain energy and nutrient by decomposing dead organic substances of plant or animal organ. The product of the decomposition such as inorganic nutrient which are released in the ecosystem are reused by producer, thus they recycle it. Earthworm and certain soil organisms such as nematodes, arthropods are deleterious, which feeder can help to decompose of organic matter are called detritivores. Ecotone. Ecotone is a zone of junction between two or more diverse ecosystems. For example, mangrove forests represent an ecosystem between marine and terrestrial ecosystem. Other examples are grassland, estuary, riverbank. Characteristics of ecotone. It may be very narrow or quite wide. It has a condition intermediate to the adjacent ecosystem, hence it is a zone of tension. It is a linear as it shows progressive increase in the species composition of one incoming community and a simultaneous decrease in the species of the other outgoing adjacent community. A well-developed ecotone contains some organisms which are entirely different from that the adjacent community. Sometimes the number of species and the population density of some of these species is more greater in this zone either of the community. This is called edge effect. The organisms which occur primarily or most abundantly in this zone are known as edge species. In this terrestrial ecosystem, edge effect is especially applicable to the bird. For example, the density of bird is greater in the mixed habitat of the ecotone between the forest and desert. Niche. A niche refers to the specific role or position that a species occupies within its ecosystem. It is the sum of all interaction and the relation of a species has with its biotic and abiotic surrounding. Essentially, a niche is defined how a particular species fit into its environment, what it does, and how it interacts with other organisms and its physical surroundings. The biome. The terrestrial part of the biome is divided into enormous regions called biome, which are characterized by climate, vegetation, animal life, and general soil type. No two biomes are alike. The climate determines the boundary of biome and abundance of plant and animal found in each one of them. The most important climate factors are temperature and precipitation. The tundra biome. We found it on northern and southernmost region of the world, adjacent the ice-bound poles. In the southern part of the tundra biome, there are few trees, most likely shrubs. The ground flora consists of lichen, mosses. Common animals found in the area including reindeer, Arctic fox, polar bear, snow owl, etc. Reptiles and amphibians are rare or almost absent in this area. The taiga biome. We found it in northern Europe and some part of Asia and North America. The dominating vegetation is coniferous evergreen forest. The fauna consists of birds, hawks, and some carnivores like Siberian tiger, wolverines, wolves, its temperate deciduous forest biome. It extends over the central southern Europe, eastern North America, western China, Japan, New Zealand, etc. The flora include trees like beech, oak, maple, etc. The animals are familiar vertebrates and invertebrates. Those are gradually the most productive agriculture area in the earth. The tropical rainforest biome. Those equatorial regions are warm and wet with diverse vegetation that form a canopy. Leaf litter on the ground and the humus condition create a layer of nutrient above the low quality soil, which allow the growth of the wide variety of vegetation. In fact, the tropical rainforests are the famous for hosting vast amount of biodiversity. Desert biomes. Located in both cold and warm climate across the globe, deserts are defined by their dryness, and life in those areas are adapted to lack of water and nutrients. Aquatic zones. Aquatic systems are not called as biomes. However, they are divided into distinct-like zones with regions of relatively distinct plant and life. The major difference between the various aquatic zones are due to the salinity, level of dissolved nutrient, water temperature, depth of sunlight penetration. Freshwater ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystems are classified as just moving water or a stagnant water. The moving water system include the freshwater stream, spring, river, creek, brook, etc. The stagnant water bodies include pool, pond, some swamps, etc. The marine ecosystem. Nearly 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered by ocean with an average depth of 3,750 meters and with the salinity about 35 parts per thousand or ppt, about 90% of which is sodium chloride. Estuaries. Coastal bay, river mouth, and tidal masses from estuaries. In estuaries, fresh water from rivers meet ocean water, and the two water are mixed by action of tides. Estuaries are highly productive as compared to the adjacent river or sea. Coral reef. A coral reef is a dynamic ecosystem with a wide range of marine life. Even the mangrove and the sea grasses are shielded from swell by them. The reefs serve as the both habitat and the source of food for numerous different species including algae, fish, etc. The coral reef mass and the species diversity are directly inversely correlated. Mangroves. Mangroves are a group of trees and shrubs that grow in a coastal saline or brackish water. They have special adaptation to take in extra oxygen to remove salt, which allow them to tolerate conditions that would kill the most plant. Mangroves are found in tropical and subtropical regions around the world, and they play an important role in the coastal ecosystem. They provide habitat for variety of marine life, and they help to protect shoreline from erosion. The final one is biosphere. Biosphere is part of the earth where life can exist. Biosphere represents a highly integrated and interacting zone comprising of atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. It is a narrow layer around the surface of the earth. If we visualize the earth to be the size of an apple, the biosphere would be as thick as its skin. Life in the biosphere is abundant between 200 meters below the surface of the ocean and about 6,000 meters above the sea level. Biosphere is absent at extreme of the north and south for the highest mountain and the deepest ocean. Since existing hostile conditions, they do not support life. Occasionally, Spores of fungi and bacteria do occur at the greatest height beyond 8,000 meters, but they are not metabolically active and hence represent only dormant life. The energy required for the life within the biosphere comes from the sun. The nutrients necessary for the living organism come from the air, water, soil. The same chemical and recycle over and over again for the life to continue. Living organisms are not uniformly distributed throughout the biosphere. Only a few organisms live in the polar region, while the tropical rainforests have the excessively rich diversity of plant and animal. So, this is the end of the video. I hope you like the concept of level of organization in ecology. To get the note of the content, please scan the above QR code. Thank you.